Thank you very, very much. And let me say good afternoon. It is great to be a guest of the Baton Rouge Press Club. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be with you once again to discuss some of the important things that are happening at and issues facing LSU as we wrap up our fall semester and look ahead to spring 2021. I'm going to take a few minutes and I'm going to talk about our COVID response, our plans for the spring semester, and all the positive things that have happened during these unprecedented times. But I want to start our conversation by talking about the actions that we're taking in relation to our alleged mishandling of student reports of sexual assault and sexual violence. I'm sad that we may have failed even a single student who reached out to us after being a victim of sexual assault or violence or any violation of Title IX. It's not acceptable. As interim president, it's my responsibility to right any wrongs that have occurred. I accept and will fulfill that responsibility as long as I am in this office. As the father of 4 children, including 3 daughters, this issue has personal significance. I want to applaud and admire the incredible courage of the victims who have come forward to tell their stories. I can only imagine how difficult that has been for them. Their courage provides me with even greater determination to do better going forward. So how do we make sure that we right past wrongs and do better in the future? As you know, we've hired Hush Blackwell to conduct an independent investigation of our handling of sexual assault and abuse cases, including those mentioned in recent media reports and other cases as well. We have met with some lawyers from Hush Blackwell. We have over the weekend sent them 60 files to review, and we anticipate that they will begin interviews this week. Hush Blackwell will also undertake a comprehensive review of our Title IX reporting process, including, most importantly, our implementation of those policies. Their review should be complete in February, and the findings will then be made public. But that doesn't mean that we are standing still in the meantime. We're already working to build initiatives and explore immediate changes that we can implement before we have the full Hush Blackwell report. We have and will continue to meet with our student leaders on campus to hear more about their experiences and perspectives, and we have requested feedback from faculty and staff about our current Title IX reporting and enforcement. This information will help us identify trends and challenges faced by our students so that we can make reporting assaults as straightforward a process as possible, provide better and more sensitive support to victims, and find ways to prevent assault from happening in the first place. Also, we're asking anyone who might have feedback about LSU's handling of sexual violence cases to send their information to title9feedback@lsu.edu. I have re-emphasized to university leadership that every LSU employee is required to report knowledge of a sexual assault to the Title IX office, with extremely limited exceptions for those few individuals who hold designated confidential roles. We want to make sure that everyone at LSU clearly understands the requirement to report and how to do so. Our athletics director, Scott Woodward, has done the same with athletic staff. We reinforced this message during our latest faculty and staff forum last week. Mandatory campus-wide Title IX training is required of all employees by December 31st. That said, we also expect to improve our Title IX training and make it more robust for everyone going forward. We're also talking with the Baton Rouge Sexual Trauma Awareness and Response Center to solicit their expertise, and just this morning, they have sent us a proposal as to how we can improve not only our compliance, but how we can improve our culture and how we can change the mindset that led to the incidents that we've all read about, or in your case, written about. We've also met with leaders of several student organizations devoted to assault prevention and victims' rights and advocacy, and will continue to do so. Now, I know there have been those who have called for more immediate punitive action. We hear you loudly and clearly, and we feel the same need to take action where action is required. However, this is an extremely serious, complicated, and critically important issue, and we are going to take the time to get it right. That means we will give Hush Blackwell the opportunity to conduct their review. And when they have, we will not hesitate to take swift and appropriate action if the findings warrant it. In the meantime, if we or they uncover additional facts that warrant action, we will take it at that time. We'll also continue to investigate every report of sexual abuse or sexual violence, and we will hold those responsible accountable. We're taking this situation to heart. We're committed to achieving justice and to improving. We are also going to be as transparent as possible as we work and move forward. I know you'll have questions about this at the end of my talk, but before we get to those questions, I want to shift to my other topics and hope you'll stick with me. Now, if you will recall, when I last addressed the Baton Rouge Press Club in April, it was the very first virtual meeting in this group's 51-year history. Now, I don't know if any of us at that time thought that we'd still be meeting virtually 8 months later, but if 2020 has proven anything, it's that we must confront the challenges we're presented with and find ways to adapt, overcome, and continue to work toward a better future. And that's exactly what we've been doing at LSU throughout this very turbulent year. Early on in the pandemic, we capitalized on the opportunity to leverage our unique resources and research capabilities at the 8 institutions in our LSU family to be a leader in Louisiana's COVID fight. From treating patients on the front lines and developing new testing methods to establishing training centers, manufacturing PPE, and our continued work on treatments and vaccine, we've shown the immeasurable value of a statewide flagship research university that includes 2 health science centers and a world-renowned biomedical research center. After we were forced to close our campuses on short notice in March, we adjusted and completed the final stretch of our spring semester and our summer semester remotely, throughout which we were planning for reopening our campuses in the fall. Because we were confident in the planning that we had done, we entered the fall semester with optimism. But I will be honest with you, because there are things that were just out of our control, we admittedly had some trepidation. While this has not been a perfect academic semester, we have gotten through it, and it has been as successful as any of us could have hoped, given the unprecedented circumstances. Our health and safety procedures helped us largely keep the COVID situation in check on campus. We've kept our students on track academically, and we're on pace to finish the semester with no major interruptions to our academic calendar. Now, certainly our planning helped, but the main reason our plans worked was because our campus community took the situation very, very seriously. So I'm incredibly grateful to our students, our faculty, and our staff who have really stepped up this semester and have been vigilant about adhering to our safety and health protocols. Have we had breaches? Absolutely. We can't totally control human behavior, but most folks have been fantastic in their commitment to doing the right thing. Something else that sets us apart from almost every other university is the record enrollment, retention, and graduation rates that we achieved. We're now more populous and more diverse than we have ever been in our 160-year history. We also saw significant enrollment increases in Shreveport, Alexandria, and Eunice. This would have been an incredible accomplishment in any year, but to have achieved it during a pandemic and amidst a trend in recent years of declining enrollment at universities across the country is truly phenomenal. It is a testament to our enrollment management team, and it is a testament to everyone on campus because we are all recruiters. Now, the recent news about vaccines is very encouraging, and I know that we're all hopeful that we'll be getting a vaccine soon, but the concomitant spike in COVID cases that we've seen across the country serves as a most sobering reminder that this pandemic is far from over and we cannot afford to get complacent. I will admit, I am tired of the pandemic. You're tired of the pandemic. Everyone is tired by the pandemic, but the pandemic is not tired of us. We know that we will still be navigating COVID into the spring semester. And that means that we'll be operating under many of the same health and safety protocols we implemented during the fall. We will continue wearing our masks, remaining as physically distant as possible. And I am alone in my office, except for all of you virtually, or I would be wearing my mask, coughing into our elbows, washing our hands, using our daily symptom tracker, and quarantining and isolating if necessary. We will continue to offer COVID testing on campus, and we will encourage everyone to get tested at least on a monthly basis. And we will continue to conduct the wastewater testing in our buildings that has been an extremely effective tool for monitoring containing the virus on our campus. Wastewater testing has been a lifesaver for us. Now, academically, we would love to return to 100% in-person learning again, but it is still not safe to do so. We're going to get there eventually, but in the meantime, we're planning to deliver approximately half of our spring semester classes in person or in a hybrid fashion. 71% of the classes that are online, that's 71% of the 50% that are online, will be delivered in real time. And we're going to urge students, if it's delivered in real time, even if it's virtual, go to the class on time. It'll help you organize your lives. It's better than watching it later. We're going to remain as flexible as we can, but we're not going to jeopardize the health and well-being of our campus community or our ability to remain open. Safety will continue to be our guidepost. Now, as I emphasized at the outset, when discussing sexual assault and violence, the pandemic has not been the only major challenge we faced in 2020. During the year, we have confronted a number of critically important issues that have long stained the soul of virtually every university and every community in our nation. Racism and racial injustice, sexual assault and violence, and hazing. These are problems that we will address. We have to strive to be leaders in creating safe, diverse, respectful, sensitive campus spaces and cultures. Finding solutions that affect real and lasting change is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't make real progress in the short term. We will. We can and we will. Every step is another step forward, but it takes a lot of steps to finish the job, and there aren't any shortcuts along the way. There are breakthroughs, but with each breakthrough, we must continue to push forward. So we're taking a similar approach and bringing the same energy to the Title IX situation and the hazing situation that we brought to our work on inclusivity, equity, and diversity. When the call for a national reckoning on racial injustice reverberated across our country and our campus this past summer, we took the opportunity to accelerate our work on the diversity and inclusion roadmap that began in summer 2019. And we have made some really significant progress. Now, I understand that the removal of a name from a building generates the most headlines, but there's a lot more work being done on this front that doesn't receive as much media attention. And I'd like to address just a few of those efforts. At an inclusion, equity, and diversity leadership retreat that we convened in June, we formed 9 subcommittees composed of students, faculty, staff, and alumni, and they've been working to implement the roadmap. These subcommittees are addressing areas of our roadmap relating to faculty, staff, student, health and wellness, academics, recruiting, community building, communications, and physical environment. We're working on a comprehensive report that will detail the accomplishments and progress that they've made so far, so stay tuned. We've also updated our diversity statement, and we expect to receive recommendations from our building name evaluation committee in the near future. Additionally, we convened a half-day leadership summit with deans, vice presidents, and academic chairs to work to create search committees that will effectively achieve our critical goals of increasing diversity and cultural competency in our faculty. Now, as you also know, we experienced some tragic incidents on and off campus this fall related to hazing. These horrific events are tremendously painful, and we will not tolerate the behavior that gave rise to them. We have suspended one fraternity as we investigate the incidents further, and as we move forward, we will not hesitate to hold any person or any organization accountable if we find that they've engaged in hazing activities. Now, unfortunately, as I said, sexual assault, racial injustice, and hazing are not exclusive to our campus. But at LSU, we do not want to be a place where they continue to be a problem. We want to be a place where we confront the issues head on and work to find effective solutions that make our campus a safer and more equitable place for everyone. And I'm confident that working together, we will do just that. Now, I'd like to shift to another very serious issue that LSU and most universities across the country are grappling with right now. And that's the budget challenges that we face due to the pandemic. We're fortunate that we have been able to increase enrollment, which is particularly important since our funding from the state has declined in recent years. But we can't possibly offset all our financial losses due to the pandemic with added revenue from enrollment increases. While we're very grateful for the financial support we received through the CARES Act this past spring and from our state legislatures during the session and the second special session, the unfortunate reality is that the roughly $13.5 million from the CARES Act that we received this summer doesn't come close to covering our COVID costs or revenue losses. Simply put, our ability to continue operating without any major cuts hinges on securing an additional COVID relief package from Congress. Our overall financial losses are a great concern, but the serious financial and operational disruption on our overall research and development enterprise are even more alarming. As our state's flagship university, research is part of our DNA. It's the very thing that differentiates us from every other university in the state. It's our research that has allowed us to be a leader in our state's COVID fight. And it's our research that will help us be a leader in Louisiana's economic recovery from the pandemic. Now, as I seek investment in LSU, I should quickly mention just a few of our recent research successes that highlight the incredible expertise of our LSU faculty, the educational opportunities they create, and the way our research creates jobs and leads to practical solutions for some of our states and regions' most pressing problems. Now, at our flagship in Baton Rouge, we've had at least 6 major grants exceeding $9 million this year. I'll highlight 2 of them. An interdisciplinary team of LSU faculty has secured a $10.8 million award from the National Institutes of Health to continue and to expand the important work they've been doing since 2009 to protect communities from dangerous pollution from hazardous waste sites through the Superfund Research Program. A large part of the LSU Superfund Research Program is educating future scientists and engineers, and the team has thus far trained over 30 graduate students and postdoctoral fellows in chemistry, physics, environmental sciences, biological and biomedical sciences, and pharmacology. The U.S. Department of Defense has also turned to LSU experts to improve national security by helping make military operations better prepared and more resilient to climate-induced hazards, with more than $9.3 million in funding over the next 4 years. This research focuses on finding solutions to protect military operations, personnel, and infrastructure from the impact of flooding, subsidence, and rising seas. Moving off the flagship campus, but staying in Baton Rouge, the Ag Center received $3 million from the Rice Research Board to help fund Ag Center research, including $500,000 for an endowed superchair. And the Louisiana Soybean and Grain Research and Promotion Board is reviewing proposals for an additional $1.5 million in Ag Center research projects. The Pennington Biomedical Research Center, right there on Perkins Road, and the Louisiana Clinical and Translational Science Center, that's LaCATS, have received a $1.8 million award from the National Institutes of Health as part of Operation Warp Speed. The funding will be used to address barriers to COVID-19 testing in Louisiana's underserved Black communities and to find ways to increase testing. Meanwhile, Pennington's global survey study on COVID-19 lockdown's effect on our lifestyle garnered attention worldwide. Media outlets in 20 countries generated 132 articles on the study, reaching an estimated 262 million people, including a story in the New York Times on Friday. Now, the reason I mention these awards is because they are great examples of research in action with practical applications. This is research that helps create jobs, protects our state's precious natural resources, assists our nation's military, mitigates the risk of disasters, both natural and man-made, improves the lives of Louisianians, and benefits the industries that do business here. As our state's flagship university, we have the expertise and ability to attract these great grants and conduct this incredibly important research. But our ability to continue to do so will be hampered without additional funding relief to help us offset our COVID-related losses. Now, I know I've covered a lot of ground. I know we didn't get lunch. This is my second time with you, and I haven't eaten yet. So hopefully, Jim, you'll have me back once and have lunch. And I know I've covered a lot of ground that otherwise would have been lunch. But everything I'm talking about really boils down to three things: challenges, opportunities, and achievement. And that's not a coincidence because they are all directly related. All of us are confronted with great challenges in our personal and our professional lives. No one is immune to adversity. But if you're an optimist, and I am an optimist, then you tend to see challenging situations as unique opportunities to make significant and much needed improvements. And if you've got the courage and the resolve to put in the hard work that it takes to make significant and meaningful change, as we do at LSU, then you'll usually find that your greatest achievements were a direct result of your greatest challenges. Yeah, 2020 has been an extremely challenging year, but there have also been some incredible successes. We know we're going to continue to face great challenges in the year ahead. In confronting them, we will continue to dedicate ourselves to making the most of every opportunity we have to achieve even greater success and goals in 2021.